Okay, so we are back for our third episode of Adversity to Prosperity with myself, Benjamin Brain, high growth, high performance coach and host of The Truth About Business, and Neale Lewis, scale up expert and high growth coach. So welcome back to the podcast, Neale. Thanks for joining us again for this one.
Hey, Ben, great to be with you. And it's great to see the step up you're taking for the community right now to put these together to sort of be a real benefit to the community in sort of putting together these kind of tips and education to help everyone out there in terms of, who's really facing some significant challenges right now. As we spoke about last week, having the right mindset, having the right tools, having the right people around them, to let them be able to find a way through this, as you talked about. Make sure, right now we're in deep in adversity, but with the right mindset, with the right direction, with the right focus, there's every opportunity to move out of this towards prosperity.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to this one, Neale, because I know, as you've said there, with regards to turning adversity into prosperity, you've got some specific examples that you'd like to talk about that we'll get into later. But I think it's just worth mentioning that before we started recording, you came up with this great idea of seeing if we could get a sort of question and answer session for the next episode next Thursday. So whilst we don't know what the subject is going to be yet, what I would say to people who are listening or watching this recording is to make sure that you follow myself or Neale on LinkedIn, and we'll be posting the topics that we're going to be discussing next week. And if you fancy joining us on this Zoom call and asking us some questions live that we can get onto you, or you want to send us some messages through LinkedIn by leaving a comment or sending us a message, then we're more than happy to do that. So we definitely like to make it a bit more of an interactive experience and see if we can get some crowd participation for the next episode. So watch out for us on it's Benjamin Brain on LinkedIn and Neale Lewis as well. You should find us searching those names. So I know that this week, Neale, that you'd like to talk about using this opportunity that we're all faced with right now to dust down some of your marketing and maybe your sales scripts and things like that. You've got some information with regards to potential hot sectors that are going to have a real growth or be in a position of growth once the lockdown is over. We've already mentioned you've got some really inspiring examples of businesses that have been in adversity themselves, but have really pivoted and collaborated with other business owners to totally change the way they do things and take advantage of some big opportunities. And then you've got an exercise, the SWT exercise, that you'd like to talk to the audience about as well, to give them some practical strategies that they can take away from after having listened or watched to this episode and be getting on with. So shall we start with the dusting down the marketing and see what your thoughts are around that one?
Definitely. But before I go into that, I just want to share a parable that really sort of feels it's striking home right now, because a lot of us really haven't got huge amount of revenues coming in right now, and this feels like a very foreign time. But actually, we live in Derbyshire. We live in quite a rural part of the world, and there's a lot of farmers who live in Derbyshire. And farmers, by default, are used to sowing their seeds. So right now in the spring, they're sowing their seeds, and knowing that the harvest that they yield maybe in August, September time is so dependent on the quality of those seeds. It's so dependent on how well they nurture and look after and fertilize those seeds as to how well their harvest is going to go. So, right now, just thinking about, farmers aren't getting a huge amount of income coming in right now, but they know that through the quality of their, sowing the right seeds, doing all the right work, maintaining their equipment, that they will yield the benefits further down the road. And that does seems to be a really nice sort of parable that we can sort of draw strength from. And actually, okay, just like the farmer, maybe I'm not making a huge amount of income right now. But if I do the right things right and do some really solid work over the next few months, then my business can really yield some benefits in the months and years ahead. So I think that's just a neat thinking around that. So you touched on the importance right now of collaboration, and you touched on this tool we're going to call the SWT. So first up, I want you to think around who you have got within your community. Maybe you've got people and entrepreneurs and business owners who are in a similar type of sector to you are. And what I'd like you to think about is coming together, maybe getting some masterminds set up, or making some phone calls over the next few days, and just start to get 5 or 6 of you, get the power of your different minds working together. So Ben, if you're in the estate agent business, in the elections business, are there a few other people that you can come together with and just say, what could we do? What are the other opportunities that right now don't look obvious to us, but actually maybe one mind comes up with, have we thought about this, or have we thought about that, or what if we do this? And then suddenly opportunities might come out of that. So that's something I want you to think about. And then you talk about this SWT. It's short for strengths, weaknesses, and most importantly right now, trends. And this is something that you can get to work on over the next few days with your team. And what I'd like you to think about are what specific trends are taking place in your industry right now. What sort of specific trends are taking place that you may be able to benefit from? Technological trends, from breakthroughs in marketing, what breakthroughs in, and understand the demographics, understand what the crisis is doing to your industry, what trends are coming out of that. So just get some flip chart paper down, or get your white wall out, or whatever it is, get some post-it notes, and either doing it on your own, or better still, doing it with a few of your colleagues, because when you're doing it with some colleagues, you get lots of other ideas coming out. But post-it notes are great. And the good news is now you can do, using some apps like 3M, you can do virtual post-it notes. So you can create a little whiteboard on Zoom, or you can get to work on creating some post-its and on your 3M app and stuff like that, and then collaborate around these things. So again, someone else is already capitalizing on some new innovation to make it brainstorming easier. So once you've got your trends down, let's say, for example, there are some technological trends that you can take a view of. So let's again go right back to your category, real estate, state agencies right now. One of the trends that we're seeing huge growth in is augmented reality and virtual reality and stuff like that. So people now are able to do 360 degrees of their house, lots of pictures and stuff like that, which suddenly brings the whole viewing into a new era. Okay, great. What about augmented reality? What does that look like? Well, it actually means that you can then start to look at what your living room could look like if you had that shade of paint. What if you moved everything around? So you had the sofa in one part and a desk in the other part. So there's going to be some trends in technology that may be game changers for your industry that you can, okay, how can we leverage that? Then once you've done your trends piece of work and maybe segmented it into political trends, economic trends, technological trends, demographic trends, then you can get to work on your own strengths. So what are the strengths that you have in your industry? It may be that you have got some technological strengths that no one else has got. You may have a strong team. You may have a strong brand in your marketplace. You may have very good marketing. You may have, for some people right now, one of their huge strengths is having lots of cash. They've been prudent and they've, sitting on quite a lot of cash. That could then be a real strength, and now they get to leverage that and invest in other things. And then on the flip side, what are the challenges you've got? What are the weaknesses that you may have around your business? Some of which we're fine. You just say, look, we don't need to be good at this. We don't need to be strong in that area. But others may hurt you right now if you're saying, actually, our sales is weak, or we're weak in technology, or weak in being able to adapt that. So you get all those things down. And then you're able to then to start, okay, could we collaborate with other people who maybe have some strengths where we've got identified weaknesses? Could we do more to work on our strengths and really leverage those areas towards some of those trends that we recognize that maybe we can pivot into, and we can pivot quickly into those areas right now. So you start getting to work on that. And I think one of the great opportunities that we probably never had before is thinking time. Yeah, we're going to have time literally where we've got parts of the moon might have been traveling, that we can give over to thinking time and just working through that. What opportunities are there? Reading around your industry, reading around what trends are taking place in other parts of the world. Get on YouTube and putting in things around your industry and seeing what's new. So I think that's a practical exercise, Ben, that the listeners and the watchers can really take away. And what we'll do, we'll ping it.
Oh no, Neil, I've lost you. Is that me or you? Can you hear me, Neil? Please don't say.
All right.
Oh, sorry, Neil. My internet's just dropped out. It looks like there's big issues with internet at the minute. So I've just hooked up to my my 4G. It's still recording though. So if you just carry on from, you said we'll drop a resource in. So if you just start that sentence, and then I should be able to stop it together. So I'm hooked up to my 4G now, so it's still recording. It should still be there as before.
Perfect. Yeah, got it. Yeah, and you'll be able to edit that out. So, good news. So what we'll do, Ben, for all your listeners, we'll drop an access to that SWT document at the bottom of the podcast so that they're able to access that and get to work on it.
Yeah, and all the notes for that, they're over at benjaminbrain.co.uk, and you'll see all of the episodes for our sessions together with Neale. And like Neale says, any links or resources that I mentioned, all the links will be in there if you fancy checking those out for yourself. So thank you for that. That will be definitely worthwhile doing, and that's an exercise I'm definitely going to crack on with this afternoon for myself, Neale. So thank you for that.
Excellent. So let's make this real now. So that's a practical exercise. So 2 of my clients have significantly pivoted their businesses just in the last 7 days. So the first one, they were in the business providing security services to hotels, security services to nightclubs, security services to city centre bars and the like, as well as festivals. And one of their biggest clients was Glastonbury. And 10 days ago, they had the call of their nightmares. It was literally Glastonbury's off and a huge amount of their revenue was that. So to cut to the chase, they went from a business that was turning over about 8 million a year to suddenly a business looked like it was cycling about 500,000 a year. Wow. You know, it was kind of a pretty catastrophic few days, but they came together, they reset. I think a reset is a key word at the moment. And then they got to work on thinking, okay, right now we've got a raft of resources and stuff like that. And then to a degree by chance, but you make your own luck in life, they'd already started collaborating with a few other security services. What could we do? What are the things we could offer and stuff like that? And one of the business partners, his wife, worked for Morrison's, and she must be in a fairly senior position because I think one of the top team at Morrison said, look, we need some security resource. We need to really make sure that we keep our consumers safe as they come into stores, making social distancing right, make sure that people aren't purchasing too much. We need to go and access about 500 or 600 security people. Where do we go? And she literally put her hand up and said straight away, look, I think we can help. I think we can help. We've got a whole raft of people. I think they probably had about 200 or 300. And then they collaborated with some other security companies to come up and provide something like 500 or 600 security personnel for Morrison's, of 200 or 300 to Waitrose, and in total, around about 1,000 security teams to help retailers. So pivoted very quickly the whole business model, because they quickly had to learn how they were going to be able to pay these people, how they were going to train them in where, what was the sort of whole checklist that they had to go through in order to do that. Cut to the chase again. So they've gone from what was then in 2 days a company that was trending about 500,000 revenues per year to now, and this is going to be forever, but they're currently trending about 50 million revenues per year.
Wow.
Just in a pivot. Being alive to what opportunities were around, being able to see what else could we do, what other sectors could we go. Now, the good news was that you still needed to have all the pips and stripes, i.e. you needed to have security qualifications, and that's where they're in a unique position to be able to help around that.
So they've gone from a turnover of 8 million to 500,000 in the space of a few days. Now, for many of us, that's absolutely devastating, and you would feel like giving up, but it just goes to show what can happen when you do have that mindset of, right, there are opportunities out here, let's see who we can talk to, let's see what opportunities we can generate. And almost as if out of thin air, this change has come for the business, which means they're now in a better position because of the coronavirus than they were before it even started. Yeah, potentially. And I think they've got the mindset now that that will put in a position that there are going to be some security companies that haven't been able to do that will find themselves in challenging times that they may be able to acquire them. And so they're now figuring out and just how can they be a white knight in their industry? How can they help consolidate and bring real professionalism, a real area of core values to the basically the doorman or the security service that we'd see on the nightclubs and stuff like that. So that's one. And that's a great story so far, and I'm sure they'll come out of this very, very well because of the mindset they have. Yeah, seeing opportunities when others could have balked and just frozen, and chose to kind of shut everything down, and also having a good team of people around them. The other one, equally important, they are a manufacturing company based in Warsaw, and for them, didn't have quite the same devastating kind of consequence. They've been able to keep some of their outsourced manufacturing going, but again,
being in the right place at the right time, making the right calls. They're heavily involved in the manufacturing advisory service. They've pulled out and connected with universities, connected up with lots of different other manufacturers. And then a call came through from a couple of Formula One teams over the last few weeks, who are now pivoting their business to help get ventilators into the health service. And they're now figuring out, working alongside Red Bull and McLaren,
wow,
how they can create a whole raft of, basically, there's a whole number of components that they will be able to manufacture, braces and a few other bits and pieces that they pivoted their whole business to. They're now double shifting. They're doing seven days a week, almost 24 hours a day across their manufacturing capability. But that obviously is great for them in many respects. Great for the future, you would hope. But also they're doing something of real value in these challenging times. They're doing something that brings and galvanizes their team together with a sense of purpose, that we are contributing to society right now. So, they feel very humbled that they had the opportunity to be part of this. But actually, they're being part of it was because of their hard work, the seeds they'd sown already in being in the right place at the right time, having core values, having a sense of purpose, which then they're able to harvest when the good times come along again. So just goes to show the power of being able to pivot.
Yeah, and I think it's all very well, hearing about people saying you need to have a strong mindset and there are opportunities out there and there's the potential to pivot. But when you hear, real life case studies like that, where there are businesses that are actually doing it and you get to hear some of the details, it just maybe make it sink in more that, okay, maybe there are opportunities out there for people who are not of that, way of thinking at the moment. So yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you for sharing those. And those are obviously some amazing pivots that, like we say, may potentially put them in a better position than they were coming into this whole coronavirus situation.
You got it. They will come out stronger. They come out fitter. They'll come out leaner. They're already getting to work on their operating processes. They're already getting to work on sharpening the saw with the sales guys. Some things we're going to talk about in a minute. But there is no coincidence. The fact that they are able to be ruthless in their planning, very, very focused on being able to do things quickly, and moving things forward again. And that's the key message that we'll keep coming back to right now, is just focus, this laser-like focus on what's important, just having what's ahead of you, and just getting really, really locked onto that. Because there are so many distractions, Ben. There are so many things that could take us off course right now. And I think what I'm finding is those CEOs, those companies that are choosing to ignore what's really happening on the news, choosing to improve their education, choosing to get to work on the systems, are the ones that will thrive coming out of this. So yeah, there's two examples, but there is some work that's being done right now to do some data scraping and looking at some of the things that potentially could be really hot coming out of this of this crisis. Well, right during the the crisis right now, there's going to be some hot industries that are going to require investment, are going to require more people going working there and stuff like that. So let's have a little think around some of the hot industries right now. So where I am, based near Ashbourne today, I've got two mid-20s daughters are back here. Wendy and I would keep fit, go to the gym 2-3 times a week. We can't do that anymore. The girls would be working out at the gym in London 3 or 4 times a week. So right now, there's a huge opportunity in terms of fitness. There are health apps that are coming out now. There's dieting apps. We've all got back into Strava again. People are figuring out where they've been on the virtual run, exercise and running equipment. We've just taken delivery of some weights. We're taking delivery of some boogie bounce material. We've got training mats arriving, stuff like that. We've got online education we're subscribing to right now. So the fitness industry, and even Barry, who's our personal coach, is now set up on Facebook a whole weekly, daily training program for us. It's part of our subscription, but he's pivoted from doing it live to doing it at home. So again, that's just the fitness industry, and they've probably got a lot of personal fitness instructors around Derby right now. So there's one example.
Yeah, I mean, I took the kids for a small bike around the block yesterday, and there's but from the looks of it, a really good kickboxing academy where I am in Beeston. And I just happened to walk past, obviously, one of the trainer's houses, and I could see her in the back garden doing the kickboxing moves, talking to her students through a mobile phone. So you don't even have to have all the fancy equipment. As long as you've got somewhere where you can exercise and film it, that's all that's needed. And I think as well that the Peloton bike, that seems to have had a big surge in sales over the last few days because of their interactive capabilities.
Yeah, definitely. So those areas again. I was due to be in Ireland on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we did all the training and the coaching via Zoom. But they're in the business of sourcing sofas. Now they're in business sourcing sofas from China, being massively impacted. But the China production is up and running again now. But they're going to have to figure out in terms of actually what trends are taking place. Oh my God, people now need maybe stand-up desks at home. Or maybe stand-up desks will be, the future thing. There's an opportunity for, right now I've got, a high back chair at home. There's going to be office furniture that people want to have at home so they can create up their virtual desk well, not just virtual, their real desk at home. Maybe people want to have and freshen up their sofa because they're sick and tired of having to sit on the same sofa the whole time. And you can remind them that is an opportunity to sharpen that up. Office supplies are going to be, sort of maybe providing office printers, to homes and stuff like that, printer ink, planners, working from home, sort of distance planning guides and stuff like that. How do you do these things? So there again, just in terms of furniture, home improvement services, again, maybe there are houses, certainly for care workers or whatever, that might need deep cleaning, disinfecting and stuff like that. Can you take your cleaning industry and figure out how you can do deep cleans and around that area? For my business, coaching, my business, unlike yours, is more often than not has been face to face. But this is going to be a game changer, Ben, for the online education marketplace. It really is. It's going to be something that we'll be able to coach much more online now. People realize that actually, you can be coached online. It's not a bad experience. And then set up virtual courses, setting up areas that you can go and find the education that you need, sales training, planning training, getting onto grips with your marketing. So, that's the whole of the coaching industry. This is going to be a game changer. It's going to be an absolute game changer for our industry.
Yeah, I've got to say, even recording the Truth About Business episodes with the entrepreneurs and CEOs and business owners, traditionally, I've always tried to get in the same room, so they have to physically get there, make the time. I can't film it. I record the podcast. Whereas now that I've had to transition to Zoom, it's far easier for my guests, such as yourself joining us today, Neale. I can record it, so I can put snippets out via LinkedIn to advertise it. So it's actually forced me to find a better way of doing it that I'm now going to continue with even after the lockdown is finished, because it's just so much easier and there's so many benefits from it.
Definitely. And there's going to be a massive boom in podcasting, by the way. So anybody who is getting into the industry of podcasting, what podcasting materials you need, podcasting microphones, podcasting cameras, software for podcasts, software to create it from the editing material, coaching around how to do a great podcasting series. This is going to be a huge game changer for anyone who's into podcasting.
Yeah, and again, I'd noticed that I was looking a little bit dark on some of the videos, so I was looking for a webcam with a ring light around it, and there was one in particular that looked pretty good. And everywhere I went, totally sold out. Couldn't got one. I managed to get a proper one in the end, which is why I look a little bit more illuminated today. But you're absolutely right. All of those accessories that go around podcasting and recording live online, they are selling like absolute hotcakes.
You got it. Yeah. And by the way, anyone who's doing home delivery, they're going out the roof right now. That's all happening. Video streaming, probably the one company you wish you had shares in 3 or 4 weeks ago was Zoom. Literally from nowhere, Zoom is the word. We kind of think, what happened to Skype? What's happened to GoToMeeting? It's become like a Hoover. I'll Zoom you. All right. And okay, they've a few challenges around security, but because they made video conferencing so easy, maybe they had to go off ball back some of the other sort of detail that you need. But Zoom have just changed the whole world, and we'll capitalize on that. So we'll see that. We'll see technology like we just talked about a few minutes ago, virtual video equipment to take 360 degrees capture of your homes. It can have a real benefit on real estate, maybe drones and those sort of things. That sort of augmented reality. So this company in Ireland, that they would put on a furniture show, in Ireland furniture exhibition each year. They're now figuring out, can they do that virtually and using augmented reality to set up 15 or 20 rooms with their furniture in each room, bringing the buyers to their virtual reality, different colorways, different areas of the sizes of a sofa or a chair. Totally could be a game changer.
Yeah.
They can really get on top of that. 3D printing is going to be big, massive. So this is going to be the game changer now for 3D printing, this crisis. It will suddenly come to the fore from being a nice to have around that. Pubs probably felt the hardest done by just a few weeks back, but now they're pivoting again, providing a pub as a hub, sort of an area to go and get to maybe groceries, doing pizzas, takeouts, all the sort of things that keeping the community going around that. Obviously, it goes without saying, medical equipment is going to be hot. Anything that's in the production line of ventilators, protective equipment, hygiene products, those things, security we've touched on. The stock market, probably a good chance to do a bit of investing as well right now, as it's down on the floor if you've got some time to do that. So just some areas, and we'll send again some resources around in terms of where the potential hot markets are that you could get into.
Yeah.
But going back to what we were saying earlier on, get on the phone, pick up a few people you can collaborate with. And once you've done your SWT exercise, get to work on collaborating and coming up with some things that you may be able to benefit from.
Yeah, definitely. Great stuff there, Neale. Thank you for sharing that. So I think the last thing that we've got on the list with regards to what we wanted to talk about today was, you mentioned about you've got some spare time now to maybe do some thinking, which we rarely get to do in the hustle and bustle of daily life, fighting fires every day. And usually it's the most valuable thing we can do is to actually sit and think of plans, think of new ideas, think of innovations. But we've also maybe got some time to look at the marketing and look at the sales scripts that we use, and etc. So what's been your advice to your clients around those sort of issues?
Yeah, so again, the spring cleaning is a huge opportunity right now. It's sometimes it's find out that our websites become a bit derelict, or we haven't been paying attention to our social media sites, that our Instagram profile has got a really old photograph on. The link from our LinkedIn site goes to some spurious thing that we last looked at 15 years ago. We've got redundant photographs, or maybe haven't got any photographs at all on our LinkedIn. It doesn't really explain about our business. We haven't got a link to our company page on LinkedIn. So there's a whole raft of things you can get to work on now in terms of saying, right, over the coming weeks, I'm just going to focus on improving all of our marketing, just going back, doing an audit on the website, doing an audit on your LinkedIn profile, doing an audit on your Facebook page, doing an audit on YouTube. And then maybe saying, actually, right now is a perfect opportunity to get a YouTube site if you haven't got one already. Dust some videos down. Video is going to be huge, by the way. Coming out of this, video is going to be a game changer. And there's a real opportunity for you to shoot a raft of videos about why people should do business with your company. What are the benefits of doing business with you? What's your business around? So I think just some areas of really sort of doing that. Also, get into your database. If you have a CRM system, cleanse that database. Who are the hot people that you want to be connecting with right now? Who do you want to, and as we spoke about last time, no one wants to be sold to at the moment. But now's a great time just to reach out to people, having a conversation about how you're getting on. What are where you still struggle? How can I help you? Without right, but just being somebody who's curious, wants to help. Even though there's nothing to be sold right now, people remember you for that. And then just again, get your database up to date. And one of the other sort of things that you might want to do, and we're going to touch on this next week when we think more about sales and honing down our sales skills, is go through your CRM system, get some yellow legal paper. If you haven't got yellow legal paper, just get some line paper and just start writing a whole raft of people that you're going to commit to calling over the next 120 days. Some of them may be in the pipeline for a while. Some of them might be in lapsed clients. Some of them are existing clients. Some of them are potential suppliers. Some of them are potential partners. Just write a raft of names down. And then when we come back together next time, we're going to start thinking about how can we reach out to people? How can we be really disciplined on doing things? Because one thing we know right now, those people who were hard to get in touch with a few weeks ago are suddenly also working from home or at home as well. And that CEO that you've never been able to get in touch with suddenly might have some time in their hands. So there's a few thoughts around getting on top of those things that you've been meaning to do forever. No excuses now. We can really get those things to working effectively.
Yeah, I've really noticed as well with some of my LinkedIn connections, the invites that I've sent out that have been sat there for quite a few weeks, all of a sudden you sort of see them filtering through as more people have more spare time and they're getting back on LinkedIn and they're accepting their invitations. So I think that's definitely a worthwhile point on that one. And also with regards to what you say about dusting down the marketing and looking at all your links and how you are perceived from the outside, well, you know, if nothing else coming out of this lockdown, at least you can have a much slicker, more efficient, more planned marketing approach to what happens when we're out of it, instead of, you know, suddenly the restrictions are lifted and you're like, oh, we need to come up with a marketing plan, or we need to refresh this. Now is the time to get that ready so that you're prepared for when things do go back to business as normal.
You got it.
Brilliant. Okay. Brilliant, Neale. Some really good insights there. Some good strategies and tactics, particularly with the SWT and getting on the phone and just having the conversation and asking the questions, because like you've said with the two businesses that you referenced earlier, you just have no idea what ideas are going to be sparked from having those conversations where you complement people's weaknesses and others complement your strengths, or the other way around, and just seeing if there's any way in which you can pivot and take your business down a new route, which is going to help you to not only survive the coronavirus situation, but come out of the other end stronger than we went in. So thank you for sharing those. Thanks for joining us as usual. And I'm looking forward to jumping on the podcast with you next week and getting down into some discipline and some sales skills to make the most of what's out there at the moment. So appreciate your time, Neale. Thanks again. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, Ben.